Good morning everybody, welcome to Madness Manor, welcome to the 11th of May 2024, Saturday morning, beautiful Saturday morning here in Mansfield in North Nottinghamshire. Here we have a video on the Brompton T line, and this is going to be a PDI video. PDI as in post delivery inspection and post delivery ride and lubrication. I did 6 miles on it yesterday, that's all. The unboxing video may come, this is episode 3, and I just want to show you what I do when I buy a new bike. You've seen unboxing videos before. I just unbox them, get on and ride it. I blew the tyres up on this. I just have to, have a little bit of trust that the guys in the factory put it together and knew what they were doing. I'm sure they did. But now I've ridden it, there's a little bit of back squeak on the back brake. That settled down. Generally that's because of where you have the wheel rim and the alignment of the brake block. Sometimes the leading edge, which is the edge of the wheel rotation, the first edge of the brake block that touches the wheel, the leading edge can touch first, and that will cause a judder. Well, actually these are square. You're supposed to set them slightly trailing edge first, so as the brake block touches, the whole block comes into play, but the touching level, so it's just one of those things. I'll try to show you what I mean. I normally start at the front of the bike, but it's very difficult for you to see in there, but you can see you can see the movement of the brakes. So you check that movement of the brakes is equal on each side, and that one I can see the trailing edge of the block is touching first perfectly, and that one is. I'm sure there's nothing to worry about. I'm sure the guys at Brompton know, they've learned what to do by now. Anyway, let's get you back on the table. So we're just going to do a bit of basic lube. First thing that I think is interesting-ish, this is what Brompton supplied to fit the saddle, and what's that? That's got to be 130 millimeters long. I mean, that is some Allen key. That is. When I'm doing bike maintenance, checking things, I'm using short Allen keys to tighten things up. I don't use a torque wrench. I just give it. You get an Allen key, and you just give it. You just tighten it up. I'm just concerned. You present somebody with something like that. That's saying to somebody, "Well, that needs to be tight," and they get on there and they tighten it. So I'm just curious, just wondering how many of these seat clamp screws get the thread stripped. Just something I find a bit curious. Right, so we'll do some lube. We'll start at the back of the bike. This isn't gospel. You've seen me lube before. I'm using TF2 lube because that's what I've got, cycle oil. I've got the straw in there, which is off an aerosol can of stuff. So we'll just start at the back here, and just sort of drop just a bit of lube. Screw heads. Do all the screw heads. This hand's going to be kept clean. Pivot points. Screw heads. Screw heads. It all goes in to help. Lift up this bit of rubber. A bit on the on there. A little bit on the old easy wheels. So it's literally just go around, touch this. You don't have to get it first time. Keep well away from the seat post. These plastic bits that move are all self-lubricating. But a bit of oil on the bare metal bits, it all just coats the screws eventually in time. You don't have to coat everything today. Do this every time, every so often when you ride it. Don't forget you're poking from the other side of the wheel, just a bit on the end of the gear cable and the screws and the mechanism down there. Got hold of this now with this hand, which I don't normally do, so I won't touch too much on the bike. Just a pivot. Again, you can get in here and just give it a bit more on the moving components. Seat clamp, that woke me up. There's a cam in here, so just give it a bit of a, you don't need oiling as in spraying with oil, just touch it. Just touch it with the upside down with the nozzle, a little bit of oil will come out. I'll show you how to do the chain, or how I do the chain, and I can find the joining link. There, right. What I do is I lube the chain. It's not a case of putting oil on the chain. There's my joining link, so we'll start there. It's literally a drop of oil on each plate, each side, because what that does, that allows the oil to go between the plates, into the rollers, under the rollers, and into the chain, which is what you want to oil. You don't sort of oil the outside of the chain, that gets oiled by default, but it's the inside of the chain that you're interested in. It's like these little holes here where these screws go. Just a squirt of oil, just to, it's not a squirt of oil at all, it's just a dab. That's all you're doing is dabbing oil, because you do this every time you work on the bike, and it works its way in, and it does good. Don't forget the hinge pins. Again, every time you fold and unfold the bike, next to nothing. Look, that's excessive, that is, for me, oiling things. Front brake can work its way in, just a bit on the screws. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I'm looking at what I'm doing rather than showing you, or knowing I'm showing you. Let me just put you back on the table and make sure you can see what I can see. Look through the back of the camera. Yeah, it looks alright. So again, front brake, lift up that rubber, just pop it up, bit of oil, drop the rubber back down. When you come to the brake levers, again, if you operate the brake lever, see I've got the bike fairly high up, operate the brake lever, cable there, squirt of oil, this side, just a dab of oil, get up there, a little bit on the pivot. Did you know these have reach adjustment screws? What that means is, get me all can for the dabber. So there's a screw here, and that works against the lever. So if you struggle to reach the brake lever, you can screw that screw in, which moves the brake lever up. Now obviously when you move the brake lever, puts a brake on, so you may have to undo this Allen screw here to give it a bit more cable. It's easy to do. So you can drop the cable through, give it a bit more cable. You adjust this screw so your brake lever's further up, because they only move that far to work. Just get a bit of a dab on these. You see, I've just touched that. I don't know if you can see, but there's black on there. Job's a good one. I will drop some oil into the cables up there in a minute. I can't reach, it's too far up. So that is me just sort of basically going about giving some bits a touch of oil. Like I say, you don't have to oil it madly. Just the metal bits outside of the hinge bolt there. There's a couple of little screws here. Anything, just because it's going to get wet at some point in its life, and at some point it's going to go to Brompton, because they're going to have to do something with it, because it's a bike and it's neat things. I'm just oiling the pedal there. Just touch it, bit of oil on the end of there, look. Just touch it with it. Like I say, you don't have to do everything today, because what you do have to do is come back to the bike next week if you've used it and do the same again. Keep top side of it. I will ask you to remember about the Allen key. It'd be interesting to see how much torque that you can get on, how much purchase. It'd be interesting to put a nut in a vise and put that in and see how much it takes to strip the thread in the nut. Back to my ride yesterday. I said I would tell you about my Nemesis hill. My Nemesis hill is what we call sort of 6 pint hill, and there's 2 lampposts on the steepest bit. And it's not a particularly steep hill, other than the fact I cannot avoid it. It has to be ridden. So the hill has a psychological advantage, especially when you're knackered. So I call it 6 pint hill, because you pop down the local and you come back, and when you've had a pint, it's, you know, it's becoming a good hill, and a couple of pints, it's a very good hill. 3 pints, it's some hill to get up. Somewhere between 3 and 6 pints. When you come home, which I've not had for a long time, I don't go to the pub anymore actually. So somewhere between 3 or say 4 and 6 pints, and you come home and you think, oh, what hill? It's mentally removed from your mind. But it is 6 pint hill. It's my Nemesis. I have to ride it every time I come home. That's my little video on lube. Brompton T-line episode 3. I shall just leave the bike sat here in the work stand for a bit, then I shall go and get a rag and just wipe over the screws where I've dabbed a bit of oil. I've got to finish oiling the chain, and that's it. So that's a post delivery inspection, or post delivery and ride, first ride inspection. There's not a lot to check. I'm not going to go around fastenings and screws, because they use torque controlled equipment to fasten these things together. But just remember, you see a lot of posts on Facebook and social media to say that the brand new out of the box, running it once and this one's adjusting, that one's adjusting. Just remember, these things are built in a clinically clean environment, and therefore won't be lathered in oil and grease and lube. Anything will be on is the chain will be lubed by the manufacturer with a, I guess, a wax based oil. Cables, I don't know if they're going to be lubed from manufacturer. They may have some cables I buy. I've got you can feel a bit of a a lube, but it's only a lube from the manufacturing process, not a lube to make it work any better. So just bear in mind when you buy one of these that it isn't, it is what it is, and as an owner and a purchaser, you do have a responsibility, in my opinion. You do have a responsibility to go around it, check it, lube it, make sure it's right, and ride it, and keep it lubed and checked. All you have to do is, more so when you wash it, because when you wash it, you go around, you see me washing it, you can feel things, you can just see what's what with it. Above all, it's not a job. Just enjoy it. Just become one with your bike, or in my case, become one with your tyre. Thanks for watching my ramblings about bike lube. Remember, just do a little PDI check on your bike. Post ride check, pre-ride check. Keep it clean. Dab oil there and there. It'll last you years, and when it goes in for repair, your bike mechanic will thank you. And I'll thank you for watching the video.